All right, Rabbi, we're going to begin. It's taking long. And- All right, Rabbi, good night, good evening. We're going to begin now the Derush. I already did that 6 times. This guy is going to keep calling.
It was not me calling you. That I know for a fact.
Okay, Rabbi, I want to begin. Let's go. So I'm going to give the story, background story. I did make printouts. We're gonna go through the whole paper. Zera Shimshon, there's gonna be a beautiful shiur, and we're gonna do that. Where's my other phone? I would like to say the first thing is really the phone. So tonight's shiur is sponsored by 2 people, Baruch Hashem, the shul, and also someone else, and I have a few names. Would like to dedicate tonight's shiur to the first name of Michael Noach ben Katrina Leah, Elka Karina bat Sima Perel, Yehudit Chana bat Pesha Gutel, and also Rabbi Yosef Chaim ben Sima Perel. I worked with him for many years. These are Refuah Shalem V'Karov. Rabbi, this week's Parshat, a bunch of stories. We're going to focus on one story, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to see how to properly learn a Rashi. How to properly learn a Rashi is going to be from the Zera Shimshon. A lot of people make a mistake and they think the Zera Shimshon is a book of stories because we have some authors that, and for Art Scroll and others, that wrote a whole bunch of stories, and they said, if you learn the Zera Shimshon, these are the types of results that the author promises. But that's not Zera Shimshon. It's just stories about people who learned the Zera Shimshon. So we're going to learn today the actual Zera Shimshon. I'm going to ask my son, do me a big favor. Can you give everybody a chumash, this type of chumash, exactly like this one? It should be enough. Put it by every table. And I'm going to say what page to look at. So we're going to learn today properly Rashi and how we come to an understanding of Rashi today. Okay. So we're going to open up, as soon as you get your chumash, open up the page. I'm going to give the page number just to make it quick. We're going to open up the page, and then whoever doesn't have paper, also pass it to them, because we don't need that. So after the Chumashim, pass out the paper. But we're going to be page 405. 405. 405. Vahi Anashim, Pasuk says, 405, third line from the top, Pasuk Vav, in this week's Parshat. Today we're going to understand the problem, why Rashi talks, where Rashi gets one of his sources, and we're going to see Rashi did something very interesting here. The question's on Rashi, not on his source. Let's see. So page 405, third pasuk from the top, third line from the top, third line from the end of the third word from the end of the line. Vayhi anashim. There were these people. Asher hayu temeim. They were tamei. Lenefesh adam. V'lo yachelu la'asot ha'pesach. And they couldn't do the regular Pesach on the right day. Bayom hahu, on that day. So, vayikrevu lifnei Moshe v'lifnei Aharon bayom hahu. They went to Moshe and to Aharon on that day. Rashi says, I got a problem with this pasuk. So for those who don't know how to read Rashi, it's okay. I have it for you. I'll tell it to you right outside. The problem here is, if you're going to Moshe, he taught everyone all the halachot. So who cares about Aaron? You want to say they first went to Aaron? And then they went to Moshe?
But it says the word.
So, good point. Good point. Let's look at Rashi. What does Rashi write? Rashi writes, that's on Pasuk Vav, the first Rashi. So on the bottom, after the Chumash, right column, top. Lifnei Moshe v'lifnei Aharon, kesheshnehem yoshevim bevet hamidrash. Both Moshe and Aharon were sitting in the Bet Midrash. Ba'u v'sha'alum. They came in and they asked. So, what happened here? Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron are learning in the Bet Midrash. Picture this Bet Midrash. Moshe Rabbeinu is learning with Aaron, and came in the, who's coming to ask them? The Nesiim. They're the ones that are tummy. And we're going to see which Nesiim are the ones that were tummy. Who came in here? What was happening? We'll see that in a second. It doesn't say it here. So certain people came and they asked Moshe Rabbeinu, and the pasuk says Moshe and Aaron. Rashi writes, oh, Moshe and Aaron were sitting in the Bet Midrash, and Rashi writes one step further. V'lo yitachem, do not think, lomar, to say, ze achar ze, first Moshe then Aaron, or the other way around, Aaron then Moshe. She'im Moshe lo haya yodea, because if you went to Moshe and he didn't know, Aaron minahin lo, where's Aaron going to know from? And then it writes in parentheses, Sham, which is Ibid, over there, meaning whatever we quoted earlier, Samech Chet. Okay, this is Rashi over here. Our Parsha, Beha'alotecha, the Nesiim, I'm telling you the secret, the Nesiim came, they wanted to bring the Korban. Which two Nesiim? You remember what we're learning? El Tzafan, Ben Uziel, and who was the other one? Mishal. Now, these Nesiim came and they said, we got a problem, we're Tameh. Why are they Tameh? Two Machloket, we'll see maybe if we have time. Machloket, this is the Gemara talks about it, whether they were carrying out the two Kohanim that died, Nadav Avihu, they became Tameh, or they were dealing with the Yosef's Aaron or anything like that, and they became Tameh. So first thing I want to tell you, klal number one is, En Mukdam v'Meochar b'Torah. There is no chronological order in our Torah. The Torah, this story of Nadav Avihu dies, this happened way back in somewhere in Vayikra. Now we're coming up 1 month later, we're saying, oh yeah, these guys are Tameh, if we're going to that. Okay. Rashi said, absolutely no way we're going to say that Aharon was asked anything. He happened to just been there. But you were all here, and they came to ask me a question. And the Torah wrote, the book writes that what? Oh, they asked Rabbi Shimonov the question, and Yosef, and three Yosefs, and Neria, and Yitzchak, and Meir Bendas. What do you mean? They came to ask the rabbi, not everybody else. They happened to be there. That's what Rashi wrote. Okay, that would be great. Problem. Let's go to another story. Where is another story in the Torah where they came to Moshe Rabbeinu and said, hey, we got a problem? Tzavavchad. Let's go there. Beautiful. So, Tzavavchad story is in Pinchas, and it's going to be on page number, I never gave page numbers in school. I always said Perek and Pasuk, but we don't have time right now, so we're going to go straight to the page number. Page 463. 463, a little bit later, 3 parshas down. You would think the Torah writes in the same order. It does. It says, this is literally year 40 of the desert, because Aaron is not anymore around. Look at the pasuk. Pasuk bet at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines from the bottom. Vata'amotna, and the girls stood. Lifnei Moshe v'lifnei Elazar HaKohen. Again, 2 people here. Now, if the same author, and if everything should make sense, Rashi should say one thing and one thing only. Moshe Rabbeinu was learning in the same Bet Midrash with Elazar. It happens to be they were there. We don't need Elazar. Let's look at Rashi. Rashi writes, and it is Lifnei Moshe with Lifnei Aaron, second column, fourth line, fifth line. Lifnei Moshe v'achakach Lifnei Elazar. Efshar, possibly, fifth line in, second column. Efshar, possible, in Moshe lo yoda Elazar yodea. You think that if Moshe didn't know, Elazar would know. Ella seris inverted hamikra. The pasuk. This is your answer to Neria. The pasuk is inverted v'derashu, and you have to make a drasha like that. Divi Rabbi Yoshaya. Abba Chanan mishum Rabbi Elazar Omer bevet hamidrash hayoshevim ve'amadu lifnei kulam. No, they were just in the same bet midrash. So Zera Shimshon has a problem. Why, when it was Moshe and Elazar, Rashi said two things. Maybe really inverted, so change the order. Elazar, they went to him, and Elazar, I don't know, asked Moshe. And a second reason, they were in the same place. We don't even care about Elazar. But when it comes to our story this week, over there it just writes one thing. Happens to be that Aaron and Moshe were in the same Bet Midrash. He gives that answer in both places, but in the Tzolofchat story, he says second answer, well, he says it first. He says, no, really, they went to Elazar. They asked him. And you have to do seris, it's inverted. It's inverted. First, it went to Elazar. Elazar couldn't answer them, said, go to Moshe, he knows.
But they were not in one building, probably, because they
Could,
in front of
very good. That's the Gemara. The Gemara has a problem with this. So this is Sifri. So I'll tell you, Rashi got it from Sifri. We're going to do the Sifri inside in a minute. The problem, an area is good, is a Gemara cup, very good. The problem is you can't paskin, if your Rebbe is there, they shouldn't be going to him. So it has to be that if you hold the pshat number 1, you cannot hold the pshat number 2. So that's the Gemara, very good point. So if they went to Elazar, there's no way Moshe was in that building, because you can't go to Junior Chalfeh when Chalfeh is in the building. You got to say, Junior Chalfeh. Rabbi, can I ask Junior Chalfeh a question? Okay, yes, you can go ask. Now you can go ask. Because, by the way, I don't mind. You can ask. But the point is, because I had the same issue in Borough Park. They offered me a contract to be a Rav in Dar Chayamet on 40th. My uncle's around the corner, 41st, Niazov. My father has a shul on 53rd. I can't be a Rav in the same city with my father. Halacha. So I gave it up. I came, I did a Shabbat for them. They were excited, and I said, I can't do it. I gave it to my cousin. I gave it to Kaikov to take over. But I couldn't do it because my father's a Rav a couple of blocks away on 53rd Street in New Utrecht. That's Shem Tov. That's a shul. So I couldn't do it. Good question. So officially Shlomo Nisanov moved, no? Didn't he move to 5 towns? So he allows it. Could be there's different, I don't know. We learned that. I don't speak for others. I'll tell you what halacha is. That's it. You got to ask others their problems. Okay, but getting back to here. Everyone sees the problem. Zera Shimshon has a problem with Rashi. Zera Shimshon says, he's 1700s, is born in the end of 1600s, lived through 1700s, has a problem with Rashi in the year 1100. Says, Rashi, why'd you do this? In fact, to make the question stronger, the Sifri, that's the source of the Rashi, wrote both answers by each story. So Rashi deliberately deleted the answer that Aharon was first, and then he went to Moshe. Rashi decided to delete that answer. The Sifri writes it. So if you're going to look at the paper that I gave out, let me just open it, go to this desktop. So the first, I wrote Sifri on our Parshat. I really should have said Rashi got from the Sifri on this Parshat. But over here, so we're gonna go through it, but not everything we need here. I didn't have enough time to cut out the part that I need, but we'll see the whole story here. Who are these people? So Rabbi Shmuel says, Nosei Arono Shel Yosef. They were carrying the coffin of Yosef HaTzadik. They were Tamei. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Mishael ve'el Tzafan. No, these were the two, Mishael ve'el Tzafan. Hayu v'nitmeu, and they became Tamei l'nadav v'avihu. So they were the guys that were selected to drag out the two bodies that died in the Mishkan. Rabbi Yitzchak Omer, And you don't need this. Im no say Aaron Shel Yosef, if they were carrying the coffin of Yosef, hayu chalim atahir, they could have been tar. Then Mishav Atzafon also hayu l'chaim atahir, you could have become tar. Hayu lemet mitzvah v'nitmeu. There, somebody died there all of a sudden. The halacha is, if somebody dies all of a sudden, you stop what you're doing, all the mitzvot in the Torah, your potter, tefillin, whatever, take this body and bury it. For those who want to know, I had a almost met mitzvah story. As chaplain, we have two WhatsApp groups. One's New York State, one's New York City. A lot of the rabbis, a lot of people are involved, the community leaders are involved, people in the community, and they write met mitzvah. How? Somebody died, has no relatives. Nobody is coming to say Kaddish. We need 10 people to come to the graveyard to at least put some dirt in there and put the guy in and say the Kaddish and show the kavod to the Met. So there's still the ability to do mitzvah, and it's a big mitzvah. You're putter from everything. You got to stop whatever it is. Stop whatever you have. You're doing the mitzvah. Okay, and he says, "Shene'emar v'lo yachlu la'asot haPesach bayom hahu." Pasuk says bayom hahu, so it had to be on the day of Pesach. Somebody died on Pesach. That's what happened there. So 3 pshat. Who were these people that came to Moshe? One is people that were carrying Yosef's Aron, which is all the Nesiim must be. Other one is the 2 guys. One's a Nasi, one's not. Mishael and Elitzaphan ben Uziel. Elitzaphan ben Uziel is a Nasi. I'm saying that on purpose. Who learned here Sanhedrin? First mission of Sanhedrin. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. He's going to quote it here. But I'm saying Nasi for a reason. Leader, prince. Okay. V'ya'amdu lifnei, 4th line in the paper. V'ya'amdu lifnei Moshe v'lifnei Aharon on the Sifri. The first one. V'ya'amdu lifnei Moshe v'lifnei Aharon v'yom ahu. Moshe lo yodea, Aharon ha yodea. Is that the case? Efsher, is that possible? Ela sares hamikra. Invert the order. Aharon first, and then Moshe. Now we saw the Rashi. Rashi quoted Sham over there, Samachet. This is Samachet. This is his source. Rashi deleted this explanation of first Aaron, then Moshe. But he didn't do that by Tzalofchad. This is the Zera Shimshon's question.
What do you mean deleted?
He didn't put this reason. In Beha'alotecha, when it says in front of Moshe and Aaron, he just said they were in the Bet Midrash together. By Tzalofchad, he said, invert the order. First Elazar, then Moshe. They asked Elazar, he said, no, I don't know. Then he went to Moshe. Or because they were together in the Bet Midrash. This is on our Parsha, this Sifri that we're looking at right now. And that's his source. And Rashi didn't put it in. This is before Rashi, the Sifri. This is where he gets it from. Because then he looks further and you get what he said there. Omer Mishum Rabbi Elazar beBet Midrash ba'u v'amadu lifneim. They came to the Bet Midrash and they were both there. So sometimes you have your Rebbe and you have your Rosh Hashiva and they're shmoozing and you came with a question and now you're going to write in the book of history, I asked my Rebbe and Rosh Hashiva. You didn't come to your Rebbe, you came to Rosh Hashiva, you had a question. But they were both standing there. You weren't going to talk to the guy. Okay, so that is the Sifri on ours. Let's go to the Zera Shimshon and just look it up because we did the parts that we need, and now we're going to get to it. So, start from the beginning. Derush bet v'yadashim Moshe teveim v'yikivu lifnei Moshe ve'Aaron. Rashi says, "Bebet midrash hayu yoshvim shenehem yachad." These 2, Aaron and Moshe, were sitting together. But keshenish Allah, it's on my paper, the top part. Keshenish Allah she'elah, second line. Keshenish Allah she'elah zo b'fneihem. When they were asked the question, okay, they were both there. Parshat Pinchas gabe benot Tzalofchad k'tiv v'ta'amod levei Moshe ve'Elazar. And Rashi answered, third line, Sham shnei terutzim. We gave 2 answers. Bevet midrash hayu yoshvim. We say they were sitting in the Bet Midrash. And furthermore, Sares HaMikra, invert the order, Shabau Techila le'Elazar. They first went to Elazar, and then they went to Moshe. And the whole world asks, Lama gabe she'elat temeim. When the Nesiim asked that they're Tamei, Rashi didn't give his answer. He didn't say invert the order. First they went to Aaron, then they went to Moshe. Sheshalut chila Aaron. So, answer one, or Yerakot, or Yekarot. Or Yekarot was from the 1700s, and Rabbi Wolf, and he wrote a teretz. He said, I got an answer, so pay attention. Teretz. So he's already picking, he's choosing which part of the Midrash from the Sifri. Which one? There were Mishael and El Tzafan. And El Tzafan was a Nasi. And we learned in Sanhedrin, the first Mishnah, Ein Danin Lo et HaShevet. You cannot be in a regular three-person court, three-judge court. You cannot judge the Shevet if they did Avera. Lo et HaNasi, or Nasi is the questionable. If it says there Kohen Gadol, it says Shevet, doesn't say the word Nasi. The Nasi, the Gemara on Tetvav on the top there, they write could be that means a Nasi. Then they go back and say no, you're Nidachat, you're Nidachat, you're Nidachat. That's the whole story if you remember over there. So there was a question, and the Gemara, one opinion says, guess what? You can't have the three-people court, the three-judge court, like we do by Atar Darim. They cannot help a case with a prince. And one of these guys, El Tzafan ben Uziel, was a prince. You read in Babidbar. So we got a problem here. They can't go to a regular court. The Gemara tells us over there in Sanhedrin later on, it says Moshe Rabbeinu was equal to how many courts? 71. Who could judge? Okay, let me change it differently. President gets impeached. How many people have to impeach him? Who has to sign those documents? Why can't some low court that does small claims write something for the president? No one cares about him. And he'll probably fight and go to Supreme, right? So we have Supreme Court, we have the lower court, we have the Court of Appeals, we have the Appellate Court, we have all these different types of courts, and then we have courts of monetary courts of capital punishment. All these are different people. To take a Nasi, a prince, you can't go to the regular court system. So asking Aaron won't help. The Gemara says only one person is equivalent to 71 people in the court system. The one who taught us all the laws. If you go to that guy, the professor of them all, Moshe Rabbeinu, you can ask him. So he says, that's why Rashi didn't say he went to Aaron. It's about, the problem here is it's about a Nasi. And a Nasi cannot go to a regular court, so it doesn't work. Therefore, Rashi only wrote one answer. Happens to be Aaron was in the Beit Midrash. When it comes to Tzalachot, who are they? Regular civilians, regular people from Yosef's tribe. Nothing special. The father was maybe special. The father didn't want other people to do Averot on Shabbat and ruin Shabbat. He went to show them what's going to be the punishment. So they should learn from him. You know how to do that. But he did that in his head. He thought he didn't ask a rabbi. He decided to do things on his own. The same thing we learn all the time. Don't do things on your own. Ask. Guy wanted to be a tzaddik. You're like this tzaddik.
Say if you would have kept Shabbat, then Mashiach would have came. Because that was the week everyone kept it.
He's the one that ruined it. He tried to make sure no one ruins it by ruining it for everyone. Okay. But getting back to our story. Tzalachot's case, the regular people. They could ask regular judge. So they went to Elazar. He has his own court. They couldn't answer him. What did Yitro say? Listen, set up a court system. The lower courts, the lower cases, to the higher cases like we have it in our judiciary system. So that's what they did. That's why Rashi kept both pshat. Now you want to ask why Sifri wrote both and Rashi skipped it? It's a good question. I'm not going to get into it. A good question. I was thinking about that and I found one source, but I didn't get an answer yet. However, Zera Shimshon doesn't like that answer. So let's see that inside. V'ha'or yekarot teret she'otam temeim hayu Mishael ve'el Tzafan, and El Tzafan hayam Nasi, and Ita and Sanhedrin, and Danin lo ad HaShevet lo ad HaNasi, ella al pi bedin shel 71 yerim. U'mishum hachi, and therefore ein sivara lomar sheba'al lifnei Aaron. But benot tzalachot shayu hediot, they were regular people. Efshar sheba'al kodem lifnei Elazar, and he says, look it up there. V'ayin sham she'eri. He explained it there at length. Now comes, and he says, v'lo yitachet. It doesn't make any sense. The Parakam in Sanhedrin. Lo Tanan Ein Danin Al Nasi. It doesn't say anything about Nasi. It says Shevet and Kohen Gadol and a Navi Sheker. When we want to take a Navi to court and say you're a liar, we're going to take the highest court. 71 judges are going to sit there. We're accusing a Navi. We're going to do 71. We're accusing the Kohen Gadol. We're going to do 71. We're accusing the entire Shevet, like Shevet Binyamin, by Giva or whatever. We want to, 71. One man, the Amr, the Gemara said, also the head of the Shevet. So he says, it doesn't say Nasi, it says Shevet. And not only that, and this is where his punchline is, and that's his answer. And Zera Shimshon gives a different answer. Af Elu. Hani Mili Dini Nefashot. What's Dini Nefashot? Capital punishment. You're killing the guy. But money case? Money case, small claims, who cares? That anyone could go, even the king could go. That's small claims, it's money. We're talking about it. We want to kill the guy, you need the highest court. So he says, She'ein donin otam ela al pi bedin shel 71. Ava bedinei mamanot in money cases, ubeshar adinim and anything else, harehem kechol Yisrael vedanim otam bishlosha. And that's how Rambam paskins. And now he gives his answer. Umash nira l'taretz b'svarat Rashi shematzinu b'gemara. We found in the Gemara the following. There was a story. It's in the beginning of Sanhedrin on Daf Hey, and it says that they asked permission. Rabbi, give permission for Rami Bar Chama to do psak halacha, and they use the word. What is it right here? Yorei, Yorei, Rabbi, Yorei, and they says he can go. He can be Yorei. Rabbi, Yadin. Yes, you can be Yadin. If you look at the smicha, you'll see Yorei. You know, Isur Veheter, Yorei, Hora'ah. Yadin is other halachot. Not Isur Veheter, but next. Business halachot, stuff like monetary laws. So, I'm going to get the answer now. He says, Hora'ah, not always, because the guy knows Isur Veheter, most rabbis know Basar B'chalav. Doesn't mean you can paskin now on a she'elah of stolen property or stolen money. Just because you're Yorei doesn't mean you can be Ladun, Yadin, judge. And just because you were given permission to judge, if you got smicha on halachot of business, then you could go ahead now, Choshen Mishpat, you're going to go ahead and I'll be paskin on Basar B'chalav or Isur Veheter. It doesn't mean that you are doing both. And therefore, here's what happens. When it comes to Isur Veheter, Hora'ah, like Yitro said, give to everyone the lower courts. You take, as it's going to bring down the pasuk, HaChukim and HaTorot, and the Mechilta says that means Hora'ah, Isur Veheter. When it comes to Tamei and Tahar, go to the top court, Moshe. When it comes to property, money, you can go to the lower court. Rashi knew this halacha very well, and Rashi therefore wrote in Beha'alotecha, they only went to Moshe. What kind of question was the Nesiim asking? We were Tamei. That's Hora'ah. That's Isser and Heter. What's allowed and what's not. Who's the top honcho? Who's the top judge? Moshe Rabbeinu. Only Moshe Rabbeinu you were allowed to ask him the question. Therefore, Rashi on Beha'alotecha writes they were in the same Bet Midrash. It was coincide. It's a coincidence that Aaron was there. They didn't ask him anything. But Salavchad, what was the girls asking? Can we inherit the property? That's money. That's monetary. That you don't need a high court. Therefore, Rashi kept both pshat. Oh, we went to the main regular court, Elazar. Elazar said, that's a good question. I don't know. Torah didn't say anything about ladies. Just said about men. That's a good question. We got to go to Moshe. And then they went to Moshe. So now everything makes sense. Zera Shimshon had a problem. Said, how come Rashi omitted something? And then at the end we found out it was intentional for a reason. It is a very big lesson for us. It comes out from here that sometimes we could have questions. Why the rabbi said this way, and to me he said something else? Why to me he wants to talk to? Why to him this way? Why to him that way? And you have to know that everything that's done is done with a cheshbon. I remember Rabbi Mansour was saying that his rabbi, Ben Baruch, the one that Cham Baruch, that we had in the last week's art school on Shabbat, He was sitting in front of him, and the guy was paskening. Same question came, two different people. To one guy he said yeah, to one guy he said no. And he asked his rabbi, he said, Rabbi, this is halakha, finish. Why you give two different answers? And he goes, this guy's family, they can't afford this thing, so we're going to give him the heter, enjoy this piece of meat. He can't afford it. For him, it's Shaz Chag, he can't afford it, go with it. This guy could afford it, it's okay. So for him, we'll tell him, do the better one. So we have to understand that sometimes that's what's going to be in the life, and we have to accept, and we have to realize that the Chacham have a cheshbon of why things are that. And I want to end off, I know I took a little bit extra time, we started late, but I want to end off by saying, Eretz Yisrael, we have to all pray for Eretz Yisrael. We don't know what's going on. As much as what any newscast anywhere in the world will say, even in the United States in politics, whatever they talk, it's what all they know. They don't know what's really going on. They can only reveal to you a little bit because they don't want to scare. If they scare the entire country, the whole place, there won't be riots, it'll be crazier than that. So we all have to understand, using that type of knowledge, you have to understand that whatever you do here, it's a minute of the truth. There's so much more. We have to daven and pray that there should be peace in the world. Amen. Amen.